is a spiritual deity. Freedom and liberty and justice shall fight for you. When you fight for freedom with all your soul, take it from me. This is Broadcasting Corporation of Biafra, BCB, the voice, the rising sun.
Fellow Biafrans, peace be unto you. This is the Broadcasting Corporation of Biafra, BCB, and here is a special Christmas message from the leadership of Biafra Government in Exile, BGIE. Peace.
Fellow Biafrans, I bring you this message on this Christmas day with mixed feeling. This is usually a time of great joy for us, especially for the thousands of us who travel back to the homeland from all corners of the earth to celebrate with family and friends. But this year is particularly more challenging and presents a lot of security issues and high cost of living issues than before. It also presents difficult challenges in relation to bad roads, poverty, unemployment, especially youth unemployment, kidnapping, and threats from Islamic terrorists in the form of Fulani headsmen. As we celebrate, we must take a moment and remember victims of the double terror attack by Fulani headsmen in Ehe Amufu in Isuzo local government of Enugu State. And many of our brothers and sisters killed by either the terrorists or kidnappers, or indeed by the Nigerian police and the Nigerian army. I am saddened by the lack of protection by our leaders, especially the governors, whose primary responsibility is the protection of lives and property of the same people who elected them to serve. The fact that His Excellency Governor Ifeanyi Ugwuanya has remained silent and nonchalant to the sufferings and pain of his people in Eheamufu community is testament to the fact that we are all vulnerable and defenseless in the face of extreme Islamic terrorism and jihad. In this season of love, of joy and celebration, let us invoke the Biafran spirit, the spirit of Umunna Wike, Igwebuike, and Onyagala Nwanne, to care for and protect one another as we party and pray and worship. May we show kindness, humanity, as the same, and at the same time, may we show alertness, vigilance, and care to ourselves, our people, and our communities. I have confidence in our community security networks, our vigilante groups, who are now inevitably our first line of defense. Self-determination is a natural phenomenon. Every human being has the God-given right to self-determination, to self-defense. Therefore, villages and communities must now endeavor to work together to protect themselves against dangers and threats that have become all too apparent in our hitherto peaceful and safe homeland. In the words of Jack Fresco, the future does not just happen. except for natural events like earthquakes. It comes about through the efforts of people and is determined largely by how well informed people are. You can play a role in the shaping of tomorrow's world by asking yourself questions like, what kind of world do I want to live in? And what does democracy or freedom mean to me? There are many other options of organization for the future than those typically discussed today. End of quote. As we celebrate Christmas in our usual flamboyant, happy, festive, and joyous way, let us take a moment and reflect on the type of world, the type of nation we want to live in, and we want to bequeath to future generations. A nation that guarantees freedom, equality, fairness, education, and sound health care. A safe nation where you can transact your business 24 hours, 7 days a week. Travel by road, by railway, by air, and by sea to every part with the knowledge that the playing field is level and there is opportunity for everyone. And you are safe wherever you go. For me, that is the future I want for an independent state of Biafra. That is the future I want for my children and their children. Biafra government in exile is structured to pursue the Biafra independence through a peaceful, diplomatic, legal, and democratic process. BGIE does not and will not support violence of any sort in the quest to achieve its goal of exiting from Nigeria and becoming once again a free, independent nation. Biafra government in exile is structured to serve the people of Biafra, both home and in exile, as enshrined in the Biafra Charter. The fundamental provision of the Charter in establishing BGIE states in Section A as follows. Whereas the peoples and nation of Biafra and their land and property find themselves under physical, sociological, political, economic, and psychological subjugation by the state of Nigeria since 1967, a state of occupation by Nigeria of Biafra has existed and continues to exist. Unwilling, therefore, to continue to live under such stifling servitude, while suffering such indignities as are inappropriate for human beings, determined to exercise the natural and legal rights to freedom and liberty. Now, therefore, we, the peoples of the Federation of Biafra, have resolved to actualize, renew, reaffirm, and continue with the Declaration of Biafra Independence of May 30, 1967, with all the implications thereof. The demand for Biafra to exit from Nigeria through a legal means, through a plebiscite, a legal and political process which is used to resolve political issues. That demand is not a crime. Biafra agitators should not and must not be treated as criminals for asking for freedom. They should not be arrested, detained, imprisoned, tortured, and in most cases killed. They should be given the opportunity to choose in a democratic process whether they want to remain or leave Nigeria. I therefore call strenuously for the release of all Biafra detainees by Nigeria's security operatives, especially Mazen Nnamdi Kanu, who has been set free by a court of competent jurisdiction in Nigeria, but is still held in detention in violation of that court's judgment. I call on all Biafrans, home and in diaspora, to think again about the future of our land, the future of our children, and pray that God will guide us through into freedom and liberty from now unto future generations to come. I wish you all a Merry Christmas and a happy and prosperous New Year. May God bless you and bless all our veterans, and may God bless our nation, Biafra. Thank you.
Fellow Biafrans, this is Rosama again. This time, I bring you a special Christmas message from one of our compatriots, Mazi Oluchi Ibe. In this case, I am reading a letter he sent to BCB. Christmas, the title of the letter is Christmas as We Lay Dying. Dear Biafrans and compatriots, I would have loved to join others in wishing all our hardworking citizens a Merry Christmas. But what can be merry about a Christmas that has become a harvest of deaths of our people? In the past 10 years, Biafrans have lost tens of thousands of our citizens, mainly youths. These are not deaths in faraway Kano, Katsina, Sokoto, etc. Those are regular Fulani baths with Igbo blood. This time, these deaths are on our sacred land, the land bequeathed us by our forebears. These deaths were in the confines of our homes, our living rooms, our bedrooms. That the Biafran world has not risen in a mass opposition and revenge should not be taken as weakness. Heaven knows that the capacity is there. Our youths are itching to give back as much as they have been receiving. With a superhuman will, men and women of goodwill have been holding them at bay. How long do you think they can hold them back? There is simply no place for Nigeria whose time has run out to hide. 1,000 elections will not stop the inevitable. You cannot decree a union of incompatibles. Two opposing worldviews can never, ever exist under one roof, even if at the point of a gun. That has been the case of Nigeria. We will neither give up our land or more of our lives. Biafra will stop you. To the entire world that has remained silent, deaf and dumb to our peaceful supplications all these years, we ask, what do you think will happen in any place, anywhere, if at the epicenter of the Muslim Salah celebrations, Christians rise up and massacre hundreds of Muslims sleeping in their homes? This is what the Muslim Fulani have just done to Christians in Ehamufu, Biafra land. When will enough be enough? Every Biafran community, even as we pass through the ritual of a rough Christmas season, should stay alert and be wary. Be prepared is a natural law. It is only a tree that would be told it will be cut down that will stay waiting. My Christmas greetings then will be, Biafrans, be your brother's keeper, these onshore season. Amen. Enough said. Aluta, Mazi Oluchi Ibe. There you have it, Biafrans. There you have it. I hope we listen. This is Rose Ama reading Mazi Oluchi Ibe's letter to us. Peace.
This is the Broadcasting Corporation of Biafra, BCB.
Fellow Biafrans, this is Rose Ama, and this is BCB. In the closing hours of this year, BCB brings you greetings. But we also acknowledge that it will be irresponsible of us to remain silent in the face of the current killings and acts of violence against Biafrans in several states. Reports continue to reach us daily about the escalating insecurity in Biafra land. It seems that the Fulani herdsmen are back again to ravage our lands. In the past few weeks, we have heard about killings and massacres in various communities, including the recent attacks and destruction of communities around Ihamufu in Isiuzo local government area of Enugu State. As the Daily Post reported, there was, quote, grave silence in the area because the communities are now deserted, unquote. The Daily Post also added that the communities, quote, are under siege, the markets are locked, and homes have been abandoned, unquote. Again, these Fulani herdsmen are driving our people out of their ancestral homes, turning them into internally displaced people. When will this stop? The Daily Post article confirms that people have fled into neighboring towns and cities as refugees. At least 50 people were reported to have been killed in this particular rampage. Sahara Reporters quotes a cleric, one pastor, Emeka, who told Sahara Reporters on Tuesday morning, December 20th, that, quote, people were moving out of the community like exodus. My brother, he said, what is happening in Ihamufu this morning is an exodus. It appeared that security agencies brought to Ihamufu are here to supervise the final destruction of Ihamufu. People are leaving Ihamufu to God knows where. This is the final burial of Ihamufu, yet we have a government in Enugu State, unquote. Shootings have been reported in other areas of Biafra land too, between unknown gunmen or Ebubago and ESN or local vigilantes. The reality is that our people no longer know who the real enemies are, as is clear from the comments of observers of the Ihamufu massacre. But what is certain is that our communities have been besieged on various fronts by a combination of killer Fulani herdsmen, security people, Ebubago, those so-called killer thugs brought in by some of the traitor governors who are stooges of northern oligarchs, locally grown terrorists and kidnappers out to make money, and even thuggish factions of various liberation groups jousting for power. BCB again calls all true Biafrans to organize local community self-defense teams, including adults and the youth, to protect themselves and their homeland against the invasion of these terror groups, regardless of who they are, and especially those Fulani herdsmen who privilege their cattle over human life. Because the state and federal governments in Nigeria have not protected Biafrans, it is now time for Biafran communities to collaborate with one another in a coordinated effort to protect themselves. Biafrans are also aware that their so-called governments have failed them. Hear the voice of a resident of Ihamufu, one Chisome Olinya, as reported by Sahara reporters who said, quote, "If government cannot protect the people, why is the government deploying all the apparatus of the state force to destroy our youths in the name of fighting members of the indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB," unquote. While most Biafrans do not want war and would rather live in peace in their communities, we cannot continue to stand by and watch these herdsmen, marauders, or thugs and kidnappers pillage our communities and walk away. Our people have rights. Our people have dignity. Our people have personhood. Biafrans are human beings. Biafran blood matters. Biafran lives matter. Our people therefore have the right to defend themselves. If these monsters bring the fight to our doors or our homeland, we shall defend ourselves. These massacres and acts of violence are very carefully orchestrated attempts to destabilize our areas, especially at this time of the year. So Biafrans, be vigilant. Organize yourselves. Organize your communities to protect yourselves against these rampaging Fulani cattle herders. Organize to defend yourselves and your homeland against the so-called unknown gunmen. Organize your self-defense teams to stop those homegrown terrorists and kidnappers who threaten your own security. And here is a piece from our recent past history. During the war and after that war, many Biafran communities created self-defense, security, and community watch groups during that war with Nigeria, and also after the war to protect themselves. Why? Because their governments were not doing it. So why not return to this past for examples of how to secure your communities? Stop fleeing when these herdsmen attack, because that is exactly what they want you to do. Fear is overpowering, but why not do the unexpected and fight back? Fight back because your lives matter. Fight back for yourselves with everything you can find: hot water, sticks, your pots, your knives. Fight back for your homes. Fight back for your families. Fight back for your children. And fight back especially for your ancestral land. BCB wishes you peace and security this season, and we look forward to being with you in the coming year. We thank you for listening to our program this year. We hope you will return next year. So, like us on Facebook and YouTube, and if you do like us, share our program with your friends. You can also reach us via email. And I personally, Rose Ama, I thank you for listening to us and for being with us. Peace. This is Rose Ama, and this is BCB, the Broadcasting Corporation of Biafra.
The more we fight together, together, the more we fight together, and stronger we shall be. The more we fight together, the more we fight together, and stronger we shall be.
Rising soul, rising soul. of Africa. We've been crying, the world claim not to hear. And we've been lamenting, the world claim not to hear. Our tears flow, the world claim not to see. And our blood flow, the world claim not to see. This is a crime, oh no, against humanity. Oh no, yeah, this is a crime. Eritrea spoke up, they were given independence. South Sudan spoke, they were given independence. Namibia spoke up, they were given independence. Give me the reason my people got to be neglected. Give me the reason my people got to be rejected. Give me the reason our freedom got to be a crime. Give me the reason our own freedom got to be denied. Hey, Biafra is the only hope of Africa. I tell you what, Biafra is the only hope of Africa. Hey, Biafra is the only hope of Africa. Believe it or leave it. Oh no. Whoa.
Thank you for listening to us today. Join us next time for news, cultural, and educational programs. This is the Broadcasting Corporation of Biafra, BCB.
Hail to